Divorced by her husband for being too overweight, a black woman decided to lose weight and come back for revenge. What happened next left everyone completely shocked. "You still believe in me, baby?" Bella smiled, that wide, gap-toothed smile she'd always had since high school, the one that made Henry fall for her in the first place. She wrapped her thick, soft arms around his neck, kissed him slow, and whispered, "Always, Henry, always." She meant it. They didn't have much. A one-bedroom apartment with a leaky ceiling, creaky floorboards, and a stove that made more noise than it cooked. But they had each other. That counted for something, didn't it? Bella was a big woman, real big, tall, broad-shouldered, with full cheeks and wide hips that didn't squeeze into nothing easily. Her skin was deep mocha, smooth as butter, and her hair was always up in a loose bun she didn't bother taming. She'd never been skinny, not even as a girl, and she knew what folks thought when they looked at her. But Henry had never made her feel less than beautiful, not back then. Henry, on the other hand, was all nerves and ambition wrapped in a wiry frame. Lanky, light-skinned, and always moving, always talking. He had the kind of eyes that looked like they were always chasing something just out of reach. And maybe they were. For 3 years, they scraped by. Bella worked mornings at a diner, nights sewing clothes for a local boutique. Henry took whatever came: mechanic work, delivery gigs, odd jobs with construction crews. They counted change to buy groceries, patched old clothes, and fixed what broke until it broke for good. But still, Bella held on to hope. Because Henry was a dreamer, and dreamers made it, didn't they? Then that morning came. Henry pulled on his only good blazer, a cheap black thing from the thrift store, and said he had a meeting with someone big, a business guy from the city who liked one of Henry's pitches. Bella cooked him eggs and sausage, wrapped it up in foil for the road, and kissed him goodbye at the door. She pressed her hand to his chest, right over his heart, and said, "Make us proud." He grinned, kissed her forehead. "Just you wait, baby. I got us." That was the last time she saw him. The first day, she thought maybe he was still at the meeting. Second day, maybe something came up. By the third, she was calling his phone every hour, heart pounding with every ring that went to voicemail. His messages sat unread. She texted, "Henry, where are you?" and stared at the screen so long her eyes ached. No answer. A week passed. She didn't sleep, didn't eat right. Her chest felt like it had caved in, crushed by the weight of the silence. Then came the call. From Darlene, her old neighbor who worked part-time at a downtown hotel. "You ain't heard?" Darlene said, her voice sharp with disbelief. "Girl, Henry's been holed up at the Grand Royal with some skinny little thing. Light-skinned, legs like a model, loud laugh. Been strutting through that lobby like she owned it." Bella's stomach dropped. She went down there, wiped her face, put on a clean blouse, and walked into the lobby of the Grand Royal like she belonged. People stared. She knew they would. Big black woman in worn jeans and scuffed-up sneakers, breathing heavy with every step. She didn't exactly blend in with the crystal chandeliers and white marble floors, but she kept walking. And there he was, Henry, standing there in a tailored suit, gold watch flashing on his wrist, a glass of champagne in hand. He looked different, rich, confident, like someone who'd never known what it meant to count coins for gas money. And beside him, her, Linda. She couldn't have been more than 24. Tight red dress, hair all styled up, fake lashes blinking slow and smug. She had her arm linked in Henry's like she was glued there. Bella stopped. Her throat tightened. Her feet wouldn't move. "Henry?" Her voice came out too soft. He looked up. For a second, something flashed in his eyes. Recognition? Guilt? But then it was gone. He stepped back like she was something dirty on the floor. Linda didn't miss a beat. "Oh," she said with a sneer. "This the one? The big one you said you used to be with?" Bella's breath hitched. "Don't do this," she whispered. "I've been calling you. I thought something happened. I moved on, Bella." Henry's voice was flat, cold like the lobby air. "This is Linda. She's my wife now." Bella's heart dropped into her stomach. For a moment, all the noise in the hotel faded. The lobby music, the shuffling feet, even Linda's breathy laugh. All she could hear was the echo of that one word, wife. She opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. Her fingers trembled at her sides. "Henry, we were just together. You kissed me goodbye and told me to wait for you. Now you're telling me you married someone else?" Henry rolled his eyes. He didn't flinch, didn't soften. "That was before I got smart. Before I realized I didn't need to be shackled to somebody like you." Bella blinked. "Somebody like me?" "Yeah," he said, shaking his head like she was some silly memory he was tired of dragging behind. "Big, loud, needy. You always made everything heavy, not just your size, your mood, your problems, your sob stories. I was tired of carrying you." Bella felt something crack inside her. Henry wasn't done. His voice got sharper. "You let yourself go. You don't care how you look. You walk around in those stretched-out pants like you don't give a damn. You think that's attractive? You think I should have stayed with that?" Linda leaned in, fake lashes batting. "He told me he felt like he was laying with a mattress. Said being with you was like sinking into a couch he couldn't get out of." Bella's jaw clenched, but her legs wouldn't move. Her feet felt stuck in cement. "And Linda?" Henry turned toward his new wife, all fake charm and plastic smile. "She's different. Beautiful, classy, and in bed? She's fire, Bella. You don't even come close." Bella couldn't breathe. The shame hit her so hard she thought she might fall right there in the middle of that polished marble floor. People were watching now. She could feel it, the pitiful glances, the quiet whispers. She didn't care. Let them watch. Let them see what it looked like when a heart split wide open. "You really hate me that much?" she asked, her voice shaking. "I don't hate you, Bella," Henry said, calm like he was explaining something to a stranger. "I just outgrew you, that's all." She stood there for another beat, hoping he'd break, hoping she'd wake up. But he didn't, and she didn't. So she turned. She walked away, slow at first, her chest heaving, then faster, pushing through the doors of that hotel like she was being chased. Her vision blurred. Her ears rang. She could still hear Linda laughing in the distance. "Bella?" She stopped. That voice, warm, familiar. She turned her head and saw him, standing by the sidewalk, dress shirt tucked into dark jeans, tie slightly loosened. His face had aged in the best way, stronger jaw, softer eyes, but that same crooked smile from back when they were just two kids running around in the South Side summer heat. "Sam?" she asked, blinking back tears. He nodded, stepping closer. "Lord have mercy, it is you." He looked past her toward the hotel, then back at her face. She could see it. He'd seen the whole thing, every word, every look. She tried to speak, to explain, but all she managed was, "I didn't know. He just left. Married her, and I—" Sam gently touched her elbow. "You don't gotta explain nothing. I saw everything." Bella looked down, ashamed. Her body suddenly felt 3 times heavier. You got somewhere to go? He asked, voice low, gentle. She hesitated, her lips pressed together. No, she whispered. I don't. Then come with me, he said. Bella stared at him. Sam, I can't just... You can. I'm not going to leave you like that. She looked at his face again, still calm, still kind. Her throat tightened. She wanted to say no, to walk away and pretend she still had pride left. But she didn't. Not tonight. Not after what Henry had done. So she nodded. The drive to Sam's place was quiet. Bella stared out the window, her hands wrung together in her lap. She hadn't even realized she'd been holding her breath until they pulled into a long driveway and the car came to a stop. Her mouth fell open. The house wasn't just big, it was massive. White pillars, wide lawn, windows tall as trees. You live here? Sam chuckled. Yeah, been blessed, I guess. Things worked out okay. He got out, walked around, opened her door like a gentleman. Bella stepped out slowly, her knees still weak. You sure it's okay? She asked. I mean, look at me. Look at this. I don't belong in a house like this. You belong anywhere you're treated right, he said simply. Inside, everything smelled like fresh linen and lemon wood polish. The floors gleamed. The ceiling felt like it reached the sky. You hungry? He asked, walking toward the kitchen. I can fix something. She shook her head. Can I cook? He turned around, surprised. Cookin' calms me down, she said, voice barely above a whisper. He smiled. Kitchen's yours. And just like that, something inside Bella shifted. Not healed, not yet, but shifted. Bella stood in Sam's kitchen the next morning, barefoot on the cool tile, her fingers grazing the edges of the marble counter. It was the kind of kitchen you only saw in TV shows, all stainless steel and soft lighting, with cabinets that opened like they knew what you wanted before you reached for it. But it wasn't the fancy appliances that caught her eye. It was an old, worn-out book, tucked sideways between two glossy cookbooks. The spine was cracked, the pages yellowed at the edges. Something about it made her reach out. Ancient Chinese Herbal Weight Loss and Healing Rituals, the title read. She blinked, opened it slowly. Inside were neat, careful notes in blue ink, scribbles in the margins, underlined lines, circled herbs and phrases. She flipped through pages filled with tea recipes, healing soups, and body-cleansing routines. Diagrams of pressure points, hand-drawn sketches of stretching poses. Bella frowned. You look like you found a ghost, Sam said from the doorway, holding 2 mugs of coffee. She held the book up. What's this? Sam walked over, glanced down, then smiled. Ah, that was my mama's. She swore by it. She was into this kind of stuff. He handed her a mug, leaned against the counter. You wouldn't believe it now, but Mama used to be. Well, real big. Bigger than you, even. She struggled for years. Doctors, pills, diets, nothing worked. Then she found that book. Some woman at church gave it to her. Changed her whole life. Bella raised a brow. For real? Dead serious, Sam said. She followed it for almost a year. Lost 100 pounds. But more than that, it gave her peace. She said it wasn't just about the weight. It was about healing her whole self, her body, her heart, her mind. Bella flipped another page. A tea made with lotus leaves and dried orange peel caught her eye. She didn't understand half the ingredients, but something about it felt safe, gentle. She wasn't the type to believe in magic fixes. Lord knows she'd tried enough diets that promised the world and delivered shame. But this felt different. Not a product, not a scam, just wisdom. Quiet, patient wisdom. "You think it'd work for me?" she asked softly. Sam looked at her, real gentle. "I think if you do it for you, not for nobody else, it just might." Bella didn't say anything right away. She stared at the pages, her heart beating slow and heavy in her chest. "I ain't doing this to win Henry back," she whispered, more to herself than to Sam. "I know," he replied. I want to feel like I can breathe again. Like I ain't carrying this sadness in my skin." Sam nodded. "Then let's start small, one step at a time." The first day was rough. Bella brewed one of the teas, bitter as heartbreak, with a weird, earthy taste that made her nose wrinkle. She forced it down anyway. For lunch, she followed one of the recipes: steamed greens, brown rice, and a simple broth. No sugar, no bread, no fried anything. By afternoon, her stomach growled like it was picketing against the new rules. The next morning, her head throbbed. Her body ached. She sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the wall for 10 minutes, wondering if she was being foolish. But then she remembered the look on Sam's face when he spoke about his mother. The pride, the quiet awe. So she got up, tied her hair, and kept going. Sam stayed out of her way, but not too far. He brought her water with lemon, checked in after her walks, left fresh herbs on the counter with little notes. "For energy, try this one with honey." It wasn't pushy, it was gentle, thoughtful. One night, after a long hot bath, she stood in front of the mirror in the guest bathroom. She didn't look different, not yet. But her eyes, they looked a little less dull, a little less haunted. She touched her face, ran a hand over her stomach, the body she'd hated for years, the body Henry had mocked. But this time, she didn't feel hate. She felt sad. And that sadness, strange as it was, felt like the start of something honest. By the second week, Bella started taking short walks down Sam's driveway in the mornings. She moved slow, her knees aching, but she did it anyway. 10 minutes at first, then 15. Sam would wave from the porch, coffee in hand, never saying much, just letting her know he saw her, and that he was proud. She still cried sometimes, alone mostly, in the shower or into her pillow at night. But each tear felt less like drowning and more like a wash, rinsing off years of being unseen, unloved, dismissed. She started writing too. Not long letters or poetry or anything like that, just small notes. "I made it through today. I didn't quit. I'm not invisible." And every time she passed the book in the kitchen, she smiled at it like it was an old friend. One evening, she sat at the kitchen table, sipping one of the milder teas, chamomile and ginger, when Sam walked in from the backyard. He stopped, looked at her. "You look peaceful," he said. Bella looked up, surprised. "Peaceful?" He nodded. "Like something's different." She thought about it. "Maybe. I don't know. I still got a long way to go." Sam pulled out the chair beside her, sat down. "Ain't about how far you got left. It's about how far you already came." Bella looked down at her cup. "Thank you," she said. He didn't say, "You're welcome," just smiled and let the moment sit. The days rolled on, slow and quiet like southern summer evenings. Bella stuck to the plan. Every morning started with warm water and lemon, followed by her little walk around Sam's property. A gravel path shaded by old oaks, their leaves whispering above her like they knew her story and were rooting for her. She wasn't losing weight like in one of them TV commercials. Nah, it was slower than that, more honest. Her body didn't just change, it eased. Her joints hurt less. Her steps felt lighter. And her skin, Lord, it had a glow she hadn't seen in years. Maybe it was the tea. Maybe it was sleepin' without sobbin' into a pillow. Maybe it was finally feelin' safe. She didn't even notice the full shift till one morning she caught her reflection in the window. The sun was spillin' in just right, catchin' her face at an angle she didn't hate. Her cheeks looked a little less puffy. Her eyes had a sparkle again. She blinked, leaned in, and whispered, "Well, look at you." That same day, Sam popped his head into the kitchen while she was drying dishes and said, "You busy Friday night?" She turned, brow raised. "Why?" "Got this fundraiser I'm going to. Nothing big, just a small crowd. Business folks, church friends, that type. Thought maybe you'd want to come with." Bella hesitated, towel still in her hands. "Me?" Sam nodded, real casual-like. "Yeah, you, if you feel up to it." Bella chewed her lip. Her first instinct was to say no. She hadn't been out in months, not since Henry made her feel like she didn't deserve to be seen. But then she thought about her reflection that morning, about how she had come a long way. "I ain't got nothing fancy to wear," she muttered. Sam smiled. "We'll fix that." Friday came quicker than she expected. A box appeared on her bed that morning, soft blue tissue paper, and a note in Sam's neat handwriting. "Just wear it and show up." She opened it slow, heart thumping. Inside was a long, deep green dress, simple but elegant. Soft fabric, the kind that flowed with the body instead of fighting it. Bella hadn't worn a dress in years that didn't make her feel like a sofa. She slipped it on just before sunset. It hugged her in the right places and forgave the rest. She put on some earrings, small gold hoops, and ran a comb through her hair, letting her curls fall loose around her face. When she walked out, Sam was waiting by the car. He looked up, then stopped, just stood there, eyes wide, like he'd seen a ghost, and liked what he saw. You look beautiful, Bella." She chuckled, nervously smoothing the front of the dress. "You sure it ain't too much?" He shook his head slow. "Nah, it's just right." The event was held in a church hall, dressed up to look like something fancier than it was. Fairy lights strung across the ceiling, white linens over fold-out tables, a string quartet playing soft tunes near the corner. Bella clutched her small purse like a life vest, her eyes darting from table to table. But something strange happened. People smiled at her. Not polite, pitying smiles, real ones. A woman in a burgundy dress leaned over and said, "Love your hair." A man in a gray suit tipped his glass and said, "You and Sam make quite the pair." Even the preacher's wife, who Bella remembered from childhood as sharp-tongued and judgmental, took her hand and said, "You carry yourself like a queen, honey." Bella blinked. She didn't know what to say. She wasn't invisible. She wasn't a joke. She wasn't the fat lady with the sad eyes. Tonight, she was just Bella. When Sam introduced her to folks, he didn't say, "This is my friend," or "This is someone I'm helping." He said, "This is Bella," like that name meant something. And maybe it did. After dinner, they stood near the back of the hall, Bella sipping sweet tea from a plastic cup, watching people dance. "You all right?" Sam asked beside her. She nodded, slow. "Yeah, I'm good." He looked at her for a moment, then offered his hand. "Want to dance?" She laughed. "I ain't danced since Clinton was president." "Well, time to dust off those moves." She hesitated, then took his hand. He led her to the floor, slow song playing, soft and easy. His hand rested gently on her back, the other holding hers with a warmth that calmed her nerves. They didn't talk much, just swayed, and in that moment, Bella felt light. Not just in body, but in spirit, like she'd left something heavy behind. That night, back at the house, Bella stood in front of her mirror again. Same dress, same curls, but a different woman. She smiled. Not the kind she faked for years, a real one. The kind that came from seeing yourself, really seeing, and not looking away. Her heart was still bruised, sure. Henry's words still echoed sometimes in the quiet. But they didn't own her no more. The shame didn't own her. The fear didn't either. She heard a soft knock at her door. "Yeah?" she called. Sam peeked in. "Just checking you made it back from that dance floor in one piece." And she grinned. "Barely. My feet are protesting." He smiled. "Worth it, though?" She nodded. "Yeah, it was." He lingered a moment longer, then, softly, "Night, Bella." "Night, Sam." When the door clicked shut, she turned back to the mirror and whispered, "You're doing just fine, girl." The woman in the mirror was no longer someone Bella pitied. It had been months since that night at the fundraiser, and in those months she hadn't just changed, she had become. Her days were full and deliberate now. Early morning walks had turned into light jogs. Herbal teas were no longer bitter medicine. They were part of her rhythm. The book Sam's mama left behind became her compass. Her face had slimmed, yes, but it wasn't just that. Her eyes held a spark now. Her smile didn't need prompting. Bella's confidence wasn't loud or showy. It was the quiet, grounded kind, the kind that came from showing up for yourself every single day. She started wearing clothes that fit her just right, not to hide, but to own her shape. She took care of her hair like it mattered, started wearing lipstick in shades she used to avoid. Sam noticed, but he didn't say too much. He didn't have to. The way his eyes lingered when she walked in the room, or how he always paused before leaving just to get one more look, it was enough. One Friday afternoon, Sam came home early, his shirt sleeves rolled up, a little excitement in his step. "You busy tomorrow night?" he asked, already knowing the answer. Bella looked up from her book. "Why? You got another church function for me to crash?" He chuckled. "Not quite. There's a gala, big one, fundraiser for the children's hospital. All the city's top folks gonna be there. I got a table. I'd like you to come. With me." She raised a brow, half teasing. "Like a date?" His grin didn't fade. "Like a date." Bella's chest fluttered. She closed the book slow. "All right then, but I ain't wearing no blue." The boutique was quiet when she stepped in the next morning, sunlight pouring through the wide windows. The saleslady greeted her with the usual polite smile, the kind Bella had seen too many times, the kind that said, "What size you need?" before she even opened her mouth. But today, Bella didn't feel small or ashamed. She walked with purpose, tried on gowns with her chin up, and when she stepped into that red one, satin, off the shoulder, hugging her like it was made just for her, she stopped. The mirror didn't lie. She looked powerful, and she felt it. The gala was held at the Grand Oak Ballroom, all glass chandeliers, gold accents, and soft jazz floating in the air. Bella stepped out of the car, her heels clicking gently on the pavement. Sam walked beside her, suit sharp, arm linked through hers. He didn't say a word as they entered. He didn't need to. His eyes said it all. When Bella stepped into the room, people turned, heads tilted. Conversations paused, eyes followed. She wasn't loud, she wasn't trying to be seen. But there was something about her, her poise, her grace, the way she carried herself like she belonged there, that pulled the room's attention like a magnet. And then, across the hall, near the champagne table, stood them. Henry, Linda. Bella didn't notice them at first, but Henry saw her. He squinted, confused, then nudged Linda. "That woman, the one in red, she looks familiar." Linda glanced lazily. "Yeah, she's pretty. Real put together." Henry took a step forward, then another, and then he froze. "Wait! No way!" Bella turned her head slightly, catching his gaze. Her expression didn't change. Calm, steady, not a flinch. Henry's face twisted. Confusion first, then realization, then disbelief. "Bella?" Her name dropped from his lips like a curse and a prayer all at once. Linda narrowed her eyes. "Wait, that's Bella?" Bella didn't answer, didn't move. Sam stepped up beside her, slid his arm gently around her waist. "You all right?" he asked, voice low. She nodded. "Just fine." Henry pushed forward, disbelief all over his face. "You look different." "People change," Bella said simply. Henry stared at her like he'd seen a ghost, one that haunted him with everything he'd thrown away. Linda looked her up and down, face tight with jealousy she couldn't quite hide. "So this is the woman you used to call a whale?" Bella didn't blink. Sam stepped forward, voice clear and even. "Bella's not just a guest tonight. She's my fiancée." Henry's jaw dropped. "Your what?" Bella raised her hand, the diamond on her finger catching the chandelier's light. "Engaged," she said, voice calm but unshakable. "To a man who saw my worth before the weight ever changed." Henry couldn't sleep that night. He lay on satin sheets in the condo he once thought was paradise, eyes wide open, heart pounding like it owed the world something. The image of Bella in that red dress kept flashing in his mind, her chin lifted, eyes sharp, like a woman who'd already won and didn't need to gloat about it. He'd barely recognized her, and when she said fiancé, when that word came out of her mouth with all the power and calm in the world, it hit him in the gut like a sledgehammer. Not just because she looked different, not just because she was glowing in a way Linda never had, but because she wasn't looking at him with pain anymore. She was looking through him like he was dust on glass. Henry rolled over and stared at the ceiling. Linda was next to him, scrolling her phone with a face like a bored cat. No reaction, no comfort, no nothing. "She's full of herself now," Linda muttered, not even glancing up. "Acting like she's queen of the damn world. What's the big deal anyway? So she lost some weight and snagged a man with a little money." Henry didn't answer, because it was a big deal. He knew it. And deep down, it burned. The next blow came Monday morning. Henry walked into the office with a stale coffee and even staler nerves. The project he was managing, a tech installation contract worth millions, had been behind for months. Money had been flying out faster than it came in. He had no team left, just a spreadsheet full of broken promises and a wallet that couldn't stretch far enough anymore. He sat at his desk, staring at the latest report with dread crawling up his spine. The numbers didn't lie, and worse yet, the whispers were starting. Investors asking questions, Sam's company sending reminders about deadlines, warnings about breach clauses. Then came the call from Sam's assistant. "Mr. Turner, you'll be reporting directly to your new supervisor from now on. Weekly progress reviews start Wednesday." Henry rubbed his temples. "Supervisor? I didn't know Sam was assigning someone else." "Yes, sir, Miss Bella Washington." The line went quiet on Henry's end. For a second, he thought he misheard. "Who?" "You heard me right," the assistant replied, clipped and clean. "She'll be your point of contact moving forward. She'll expect professionalism." Bella walked into that office like she owned the place. Not with arrogance, with authority. Hair tied back, black blazer fitted to her new frame, minimal makeup, but her eyes? Sharp, calm, dangerous in a quiet way. Henry stood up fast when she walked in, like muscle memory kicked in. Bella nodded, placed her folder on the desk, and took a seat like she'd done this her whole life. "Henry," she said, tone cool and measured, "we're already 2 months behind. I've reviewed the reports. Costs are bloated, deadlines missed. You've spent nearly 80% of the budget with only 30% of the work complete." He swallowed. "I had unexpected delays. Some contractors fell through. I can still—" "This is business," she cut in, her voice firmer now. "Not excuses. You'll submit a revised timeline by Friday, with detailed breakdowns of expenses. Weekly check-ins, every Wednesday at 9 a.m. And if you miss one deadline, the legal department will initiate breach of contract proceedings. That includes full financial restitution." Henry's hands balled into fists beneath the desk. He couldn't believe this was happening. Bella, the woman he once mocked, once left standing in a hotel lobby like she was nothing, now had him reporting to her. And she wasn't gloating. That made it worse. She was professional, efficient, cold. It wasn't revenge. It was justice, with paperwork. By the end of the week, Henry was drowning. He stayed up late every night trying to fix what should have been fixed months ago. The money was nearly gone, spent on parties, designer clothes, and weekends Linda insisted they deserved. He hadn't even looked at the actual budget in weeks. Now it was a disaster. The contractors wouldn't return his calls. Suppliers demanded upfront payments. His email was a graveyard of red flags and bolded warnings. And Linda? She was changing too. Gone were the sweet nothings and fake encouragements. Now she tossed barbed comments between sips of wine. "This place is getting dusty," she said one night, looking around their condo. "You ain't got a maid anymore?" Henry sighed, rubbing his temples. "I'm working, Linda. Things are just tight right now." She rolled her eyes. "Yeah? Well, tight don't buy handbags. Maybe you should ask your ex for help. She's the boss now, right?" He snapped. "Why don't you try being useful for once instead of just sitting pretty?" Her eyes narrowed. "Be careful, Henry. I left one broke man before. I ain't afraid to leave another." That silence after her words, heavy, unforgiving. Henry sat on the edge of his bed, still in yesterday's clothes, his tie half undone and his soul completely unraveled. The morning sun was creeping through the blinds like it had the nerve to shine on his misery. He hadn't slept. Couldn't. The numbers didn't add up, the bank account was bleeding, and the phone hadn't buzzed in over a week. Unless it was another overdue notice or a supplier threatening to sue. Down the hall, drawers slammed. Linda was packing. She didn't say much, just threw heels into a suitcase like she'd done it before. Henry watched from the doorway, arms crossed, lips pressed thin. "You really leaving?" he finally asked, voice dry and quiet. Linda didn't stop folding her designer blouse. "What's left to stay for?" He blinked. "I loved you." She snorted. "No, baby. You loved what you thought I made you look like. You loved being seen with me. That's not love. That's image." Her words cut deep, but they were true. "Besides," she added, zipping up the case, "you ain't the man you were when I met you. Or maybe you were, and I just didn't see it through all that flash." "Linda." She picked up her purse, slung it over her shoulder, and turned to him one last time. "You left a woman who held you down when y'all had nothing, and now you got nothing again, only this time ain't nobody staying." Then she was gone. The door clicked shut, and Henry sank to the floor. Wednesday came like a storm cloud. Bella sat at the head of the long conference table, folders stacked neat, a glass of water by her hand. She wore a navy pantsuit that fit her like it had been stitched with intention, her posture straight, her tone sharper than ever. Henry walked in 5 minutes late, sweat already beading under his collar. His clothes were wrinkled, his eyes bloodshot. Bella didn't look up right away. When she did, her expression didn't shift. No pity, no anger, just business. "You're late," she said. He sat down, tried to clear his throat like it'd clear the shame, too. "I had car trouble." She slid a paper across the table. "This is your 4th report with inconsistencies. You've failed to meet the adjusted benchmarks. No progress on Phase 2. The funds? Nearly depleted with no clear trail of where they went." Henry rubbed his face. "I just need more time." Bella's eyes narrowed, but her voice stayed even. "Time was already granted. Twice. This isn't personal, Henry. This is accountability." He leaned forward, desperation leaking through every word. "Bella, please, just 30 more days. I'll fix it. I swear." She stared at him for a long moment, then slowly stood up, gathered the folders, and said, "My recommendation will be to terminate the contract and proceed with legal action." His stomach dropped. "You can't." "I can," she said, voice firmer now. "You signed a performance clause. You misused the funds. You failed to deliver. And you made a mockery of this opportunity." He looked up at her, broken in a way he hadn't been since he was a boy. "You really gonna let me crash like this?" She paused at the door, then turned just enough to say, "No, Henry, you let you crash. I'm just not cleaning up after it." The next 2 weeks were a blur. Henry called everyone he knew, old friends, past clients, cousins he hadn't spoken to in years. Every conversation ended the same way. "Wish I could help, but things tight right now. Maybe next quarter." He even tried Sam, left 2 messages, got none back. And that silence? That was worse than the rejections, because deep down he knew what it meant. Sam had moved on. And Bella? She wasn't just in the room now. She ran the room. The final report was a mess. Numbers didn't line up. Missing receipts, vague timelines, a disaster on paper and worse in real life. When Bella received it, she didn't even frown. She just picked up the phone. "Sam, it's time. I'm recommending immediate legal proceedings." "Are you sure?" Sam's voice was calm on the other end. She nodded, even though he couldn't see her. He didn't just drop the ball. He set the whole field on fire. Sam exhaled. "All right, then. I'll notify the legal team." 3 days later, Henry got the letter. Thick envelope, heavy logo, cold words. Formal notice of legal action for breach of contract and mismanagement of funds. He read it twice, then again. He sat at the kitchen table, the one Linda picked out, and stared at the walls. They were too quiet now. The echo in the condo felt like punishment. He tried to scream once, but even that felt tired. He dropped his head into his hands. He had nothing left. No woman, no job, no money, no respect. He remembered the day he walked out on Bella. He remembered the way she looked at him, lost, crushed, small. And now? Now he was the one sitting in silence. And Bella? She was standing tall, with the pen in her hand and the law on her side. Funny thing, Karma. It don't always come loud. Sometimes it walks in wearing a Navy suit, speaks in full sentences, and leaves a trail of signed documents behind. And when it does, it don't ask if you're ready. It just settles the score. The letter was official, cold, final, stamped and signed with weighty words Henry could barely understand. He read it 3 times, but the meaning never changed. Court-ordered seizure of assets, bank accounts, frozen, lawsuit for full restitution, due date, immediate. Henry sat at his kitchen table, the same one he and Linda used to dine at while laughing over expensive wine, staring at the last piece of toast he could afford. His condo was dead quiet now. No music, no perfume in the air, no Linda, no laughter. Just unpaid bills stacked like a slow funeral and a refrigerator humming like it pitied him. He'd sold his car the week before, pawned the Rolex 2 days later. And now, even his home wasn't his anymore. They were coming for it all, and he couldn't stop it. So he did the only thing his pride had kept him from doing all along. He showed up at Bella's office. She looked up when he entered. Cool, composed, not surprised. Bella was different now in a way that went deeper than weight or style. She wore command like a second skin. Her dress was simple but strong. Her desk was tidy. Her eyes didn't flinch. Henry stood in the doorway for a moment as if hoping she might wave him in, offer a chair, maybe even a smile. She didn't. "Can I talk to you?" he finally asked, voice rough with whatever dignity he had left. She closed her folder slowly. "You already are." He stepped inside, moving like a man dragging the chains of his own past behind him. He didn't sit. He couldn't. "Bella," he started, swallowing hard. I'm sorry. I messed up. I lost everything." She nodded once. "I know." "I ain't got nothing left. My name's trashed, my accounts are locked, and folks who used to kiss up to me now won't even pick up the phone." Her voice was level, measured. "Sounds familiar." He took a shaky breath. "You were right, all along. About Linda, about everything. She left the second the money did. You were the only one who ever really stood by me." Bella leaned back, eyes never leaving his. "Until you threw me away like I wasn't worth the weight." His shoulders slumped. "I thought money would fix things," he whispered. "Make me somebody." "You thought looking rich was more important than being loyal," she said. He blinked fast, wiping his face with his sleeve. "Please, Bella, if there's anything you can do, talk to Sam, maybe. Tell the lawyers to back off." She looked at him long and slow. "You think this is revenge," she said, quiet but clear. "But it's not. This ain't me coming after you. This is just what happens when choices catch up." "But it's me," he whispered. "We were married, and you ended that. You ended it the day you chose luxury over love, image over respect, and cruelty over compassion." He dropped to his knees, voice cracking. "I'm begging you, Bella. Please. I got nowhere else to go." Bella stood, walked around the desk. For a second, he thought maybe, just maybe, she'd offer a hand or a kind word. Instead, she looked down at him the way you look at something that used to mean the world and now just means a lesson. "I survived without you," she said. "You'll survive without me, if you choose to." Then she walked to the door, opened it, and said over her shoulder, "This meeting's over, Henry." And that was that. Weeks passed. The court ruled in Sam's company's favor. Henry's properties were seized. His accounts stayed frozen. He lost everything: reputation, comfort, even the shallow crowd he once called friends. He became a man folks whispered about in coffee shops, A man people pointed at, saying things like, "Didn't he used to be rich?" Now he worked 2 shifts at a warehouse just to stay fed. Now he rode the bus. Now he lived in a 1-room rental, cold in winter, hot in summer. But worst of all, now he remembered. Bella, waiting on the porch with his lunch in hand. Bella, crying alone while he kissed another woman. Bella, glowing in red while he stood speechless with regret. And none of it could be undone. Bella's life moved forward like a sunrise, slow but sure. She didn't just survive, she thrived. Sam stood by her through it all, never pushy, never loud, just present. Their love wasn't flashy or dramatic. It was steady, rooted in respect, built from the ashes of past pain and the soft strength of second chances. When he proposed, he didn't get on one knee. He just handed her a ring one morning while she was sipping her tea and said, "Let's make it official." She'd smiled, kissed him gently, and said, "Took you long enough." And now, the wedding day had arrived. Bella stood in front of the mirror, the kind that showed everything. The curls around her face were pinned just right. Her skin shimmered with soft makeup. Her dress, ivory lace, fitted at the waist, flowing down like a quiet river, hugged her with love. She didn't see the woman Henry left. She saw a woman who'd found her worth, her voice, her peace. Her hands were steady as she picked up the bouquet. Her smile came easy, no longer forced. From behind, her aunt peeked in. "They're ready for you, baby." Bella turned slowly, took one last look at herself, then whispered, "I'm ready too." The ceremony was simple, filled with warmth. No loud music, no fancy crowd, just love, laughter, and the people who mattered. When Sam took her hand and said, "I do," she felt everything she had lost and everything she had gained collide in that one moment. She didn't just marry a good man, she married her own healing. And as they walked down the aisle together, Bella didn't look back. Because what was behind her had already been conquered, and what lay ahead was hers. The story of Bella is a powerful, deeply emotional journey of pain, growth, and redemption. From being a woman abandoned and humiliated by the man she loved, Bella rises with quiet strength and unwavering determination. Her transformation is not just physical, it's a spiritual awakening. She learns to love herself again, rebuild her confidence, and regain control of her life. The most impressive part of Bella's journey is how she handles power when it finally shifts into her hands, with grace, dignity, and no desire for revenge. This is not just a story of getting even, it's about healing, about finding your worth without needing validation from others. Bella didn't win by destroying Henry. She won by becoming someone who no longer needed his approval. The most human lesson we learn here is that pain, when faced with courage and self-respect, can become a stepping stone to a better, stronger self. This story reminds us that self-worth doesn't come from how others see us, but from how we choose to see ourselves. It teaches that love built on respect and truth will always outlast love built on appearances and lies. Bella's journey is every woman's triumph. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like and share it. Leave a comment to tell us how it inspired you, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. May God bless you and be with you every step of the way, man. They're ready for you, baby. Bella turned slowly, took one last look at herself, then whispered, "I'm ready too." The ceremony was simple, filled with warmth. No loud music, no fancy crowd, just love, laughter, and the people who mattered. When Sam took her hand and said, "I do," she felt everything she had lost and everything she had gained collide in that one moment. She didn't just marry a good man, she married her own healing. And as they walked down the aisle together, Bella didn't look back, because what was behind her had already been conquered, and what lay ahead was hers. The story of Bella is a powerful, deeply emotional journey of pain, growth, and redemption. From being a woman abandoned and humiliated by the man she loved, Bella rises with quiet strength and unwavering determination. Her transformation is not just physical, it's a spiritual awakening. She learns to love herself again, rebuild her confidence, and regain control of her life. The most impressive part of Bella's journey is how she handles power when it finally shifts into her hands, with grace, dignity, and no desire for revenge. This is not just a story of getting even, it's about healing, about finding your worth without needing validation from others. Bella didn't win by destroying Henry. She won by becoming someone who no longer needed his approval. The most human lesson we learn here is that pain, when faced with courage and self-respect, can become a stepping stone to a better, stronger self. This story reminds us that self-worth doesn't come from how others see us, but from how we choose to see ourselves. It teaches that love built on respect and truth will always outlast love built on appearances and lies. Bella's journey is every woman's triumph. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like and share it. Leave a comment to tell us how it inspired you, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel.